'cause we're the rain police. I'm gonna get you in your sleep. And if you got a black mind, that's a mother will find.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm back to my normal routine, you could say. I'm not out thrifting like I was. Sorry if I was a little overly energetic in the last one. I was just, just feeling it that day. It's just like the day just kept getting better as far as like these obscure finds, stuff that just you never cross paths with, and it just turned out to be a lucky day for sure. So haven't really dove into them too deeply yet, except for the 45 I found and a couple others yet. Still have to dive into, but today I'm just going to be sharing some of the online finds I've been picking up. It's part of that Cheapskate saga going on. And then I got one find here I found locally at this brand new vinyl shop here in Lincoln. So I'll be showing that one last, but I believe I've showed all of these on Instagram already. Yeah, so if you guys are following me on Instagram, you've already seen them. If you want to follow me, I'm at Dr. Mind with a Y. I'll put it there in case you can't spell. Anyways, won't keep you much further. So yeah, these are mostly kind of swept under the rug cheapies I've been picking up on lately, and these kind of go a little ways back now, but I even have some more stuff to share that I picked up online which aren't so much cheapies, but hopefully I can push another video out perhaps next week, but we'll see how time is with me. So let's start off with this one. This is one I picked up for like $5, and this is one of those things where I was just kind of going on a label hunting search of just different labels I never really gave too much time diving into. And I know this record label more for like 45s. They had a lot of like Sunshine Pop on here. It's on the Evolution label. And this is Mark and Sumley with Nice Things. This came out in 1970. This is a folk duo from Flint, Michigan. And it's not in the best shape, but it's definitely a nice solid VG copy. Just kind of curious what this all sounded like, so I just paid the $3 or $5 I paid. And it's pretty decent overall. Nothing to rave about all day, but it's kind of a handful of like original tracks, but also some cover versions of like, some of the more contemporary artists at the time, like Bob Dylan, Gordon Lightfoot, maybe a Neil Diamond song. But yeah, I'd say the original tracks are pretty solid, but I do enjoy the covers, especially on side 2. I think side 2 picks up a lot more strongly, and I would say Affair on 8th Avenue. It's a Gordon Lightfoot track. It's a pretty big highlight for me. I put that song on my other channel, if you guys haven't checked that out already. It's pretty nice, kind of a sort of a sinister, low-key psych folk kind of tune. Pretty excellent. So yeah, I just love these sort of albums, but I had never crossed paths with this one, so gave it a chance, and it's pretty solid. I don't know if it's going to be a keeper, but had my fun with it for sure, as well as this one too. This is JP Rags Scruffity. This is one where I was looking up the label World Pacific. I was also looking up stuff on like Liberty Label and all those subsidiary labels related to it. So JP Rags was actually a pseudonym for the man behind the project, Doug Cox, who was I think he would later become like a speech therapist of some sort. Like he would teach people how to make these big speeches, like to a lot of politicians and stuff like that. Later what he became, and I think he wrote a lot of books as well, like nonfiction books on that sort of thing. It's a very short LP. It's like 25 minutes long. I don't know, it's pretty light Baroque pop, folk pop kind of stuff, very Hollywood inspired. It's got a lot of like, the imagery I get in my head is like a lot of Hollywood skyline and just that kind of California, sunny California kind of vibe to it. Gets a little rustic in spots, and some of it can be kind of kitschy, you know, kind of dated in some spots, especially with his like narration throughout half the record. But there's some solid songs to be found. I mean, I like the opening track, which only lasts like a minute long, Soul Sunrise. It's got some great harmonies working for it. Otherwise, there's a few things dispersed throughout that I enjoyed. I think it was the track Scruffity, or Bells of St. Barbara, I think was the highlight off here. So found a sealed copy for like $3. So I was like, we'll check this out. So again, not sure if it's going to be a keeper. Glad I explored it a little bit, but pretty solid. I think both those records for me, I mean, do get a pass for me. I mean, they're definitely above average, but nothing substantial to like, you know, let go or anything. So this one, however, this is one I've been wanting to pick up on a long time. There was a couple key tracks on here I knew about, and I was like, you know, I'll pick it up sometime down the road, and just kept sweeping it under the rug and just kind of forgetting about it. But finally picked up on it for like, I think it was $8 plus shipping. Pretty crispy copy, besides the price tag on top, which I can't get off. This is Edward Bear with their first album, Bearings. This had Canadian and UK, or Canadian and US releases. This is a Canadian band. Might be a familiar name to you guys. They had a big hit globally with a track called Your Song, which was my exposure to them. I think my mom had the 45 as a kid, so kind of a cool gatefold shot, them and doing these sessions. And I think it was a different lineup that had that hit. These guys were basically formed out of a trio. Got some goods on it, man. They had like a minor hit on here too, You, Me, and Mexico, which is like the opening track. And for me, the only weak link on here is that closing track. It's definitely the most like straight up forward blues track. And there are definitely some hints of blues on here, blues rock oriented, but it's mostly on side 2. And even though it's, you know, some of it's pretty tolerable, they just go full straight out, you know, that really shuffling, kind of slow brooding blues on that closer, which I just skip right over. But otherwise, this is pretty fantastic, you know, kind of psych oriented rock, kind of semi-commercial driven. Side 2 definitely has the big highlights, which I think most can agree. Mind Police and Toe Jam. Leslie speaker effects going on the vocals. Very Hammond organ and guitar based. Just a really cool track, and you can find this for like $10 all day still. So I've just never seen this pop up in any shops or anything like that, so it's kind of obscure in that realm. But otherwise, yeah, Cinder Dream. Some of these moments here kind of reminded me of that band People, like Both Sides of People, which is on Capitol as well. It's kind of got the same vibe going for it. You know, they try to do a few different styles. Some work, some don't as much, but yeah, pretty solid pickup here all around. I'm gonna include the opening track here, Mind Police, in the opening of this video. Get a little taste of what the goods are from the puke green Capitol label. So yeah, I don't know how much, you know, how highly regarded their other albums are, but I think, you know, if you're into you know, kind of that bluesy psych kind of stuff with some definite like Hammond organ based kind of material as well, I think you're gonna enjoy this one. For what it is. I don't think they get any heavier after this, so this is kind of like their peaking point right out of the gate. So this is the last of the online finds in this pile. This was kind of a semi-cheapie. I found this for $10 online, and this is one that I also wanted to pick up down the road, but just never saw it for a comfortable price till recently. This is a 10th Planet issue. I think this is the only issue of the Peep Show, Maisie. And this is a archival release. Came out in like 1999, around there. and basically chock full of demos that they created shortly after their single, Maisie. I think they only had like 2 singles in their heyday. Maisie and Esprit Decor, I think was the other one. As far as the rest of the material though, all very much kind of got that low production sound, kind of demo quality. But the passion comes through, which is important, and which makes it listenable. You know, they definitely have a passion for these sounds. I wouldn't say it's like the most stellar collection of like UK pop psych, but you know, if you love that stuff as much as I do, you'll definitely spot some goodies in here. I do love the track Maisie, which has the single version, but also the 2-track originally cut version. They're both pretty similar, but I think it's like just different added effects, perhaps. But otherwise, yeah, pretty solid. I think my other big highlight was Called and Chosen, which opens side 2. And I don't think there's many tracks on YouTube, but do check the title track out. Get a little taste of what you might be expecting. It's about the strongest moment for me, but definitely a good track. So it's kind of got the same design most 10th Planet issues have. So definitely happy to cross this off. They're also kind of famous for having it co-produced by Pete Meaden, who was the producer of The Who. I think I got that right. He passed away in like 78. I think he was pretty young when he passed away, but yeah, he co-produced, I believe, at least one of their singles. So yeah, worth checking out. A new record shop here opened in Lincoln, and you know, being the guy who I am, I checked it out. And I think opening day was like last Thursday, but I went the following Sunday. And I think the store definitely has some potential. You know, a lot of it's kind of curated, as most of these shops are, like, you know, more mainstream titles. And a lot of new releases as well, but they definitely have some old reissues that I spotted, including this one. And the used section, you know, could definitely grow as well. I think they had some potential there, and the prices, I think that was the key point coming out of that shop. Pretty well balanced on their prices, which I liked. So they weren't asking like astronomical prices. For 25 bucks in total, I just had to pick this one up. So this is Guru, their not self-titled, but their debut album here, UFO. This came out in 1970. This is a Wawa reissue, which I think was limited to like 500 copies. So yeah, I was kind of still missing this one. The only other one I have is Kangaroo, which, I don't know, might be my personal favorite, but this one is just as good, in all honesty. So yeah, just exploding onto the krautrock scene came with this one, and this is much more of a experimental ride, just a cerebral, hallucinogenic trip, man. And it's all done by the guitarist, man. He's got this very electrical storm sounding like circulating the mix. It's crazy. Just how they come up with all these different like textural effects, you know, just all these different sound patterns to make it all happen, you know. So yeah, sound quality's great as expected. I mean, it's definitely a great label. So yeah, I was just kind of excited to see this in the shop, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a continuous instrumental journey. Just a lot of jamming. It's kind of all nonsensical. It doesn't really, it's just a continuous flow, you know. It just goes in all these different free-form directions, but in a way that makes it listenable and something you can kind of keep returning to and be like, yeah, this is a journey of its own for sure. So glad to pick this up. And it's a replica of the original Ore label, which is awesome. So yeah, I'll definitely be hitting the shop up, you know, in the future and see what else is in store. So yeah, like I said, I got some more online finds to share, but if I got time next week, I may be a little busy. As I mentioned, maybe 4 videos back perhaps. It's been a while since I mentioned it, but I'm actually going to be having surgery. I developed a hernia. What can I say? I strained too hard. No, I actually did develop a hernia though, and it's nothing too severe, but you know, as always, there's risk involved, so I just want to take next week a little more carefully and just be aware of what I eat and drink and what I lift, of course, and you know, it's pretty common for men, so I just wish I hadn't got it, but it all happened when I moved here. I was actually lifting one of my cabinets on the last final step, and it just, I couldn't get the two-wheel cart over far enough, and kind of strained a little hard. So what do? I tried to take it easy, but it just wasn't going in that direction at that moment. So anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in once again, and we shall see you down the road.